Thank you for all my wishes for my birthday. And also,
And also what?
And also nothing.
And also you're going back on YouTube, aren't you? Say it then.
Also, I'm going back on YouTube. Mommy, you said I used
On Valentine's videos.
On Valentine videos.
Yes.
Mommy, you told me not to say that.
Because it's anyway, whatever. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Leilani of Barbados. I'm reviewing the last episode of Archetypes, so you don't have to listen to it, okay? You're welcome. This episode was particularly flaky and there was not much content to it. Meghan Markle is interviewing Paris Hilton. This is all about choose your adventure. What else can you complain about in your privileged life? So funny enough, in this particular episode, Meghan Markle says that this is the most nervous she's been interviewing anybody for her Archetypes podcast series of the world, because she has resented Paris. She was very jealous of Paris. Paris had all the fame and fortune and she was rich and she was in LA and everyone loved her, because Meghan was just a poor old smart girl, nerd, super intelligent, not sexy at all. Really? Paris says she was also quite nervous about this interview. By the way, she only interviews Paris for 10 minutes of the 52 that is aired here. Okay? And Paris says, I also was very nervous about this because you know why? I've never met you. I don't know you, honey. So Meghan says that Paris Hilton built her brand out of being a dumb blonde. This is repeated about 100 times throughout this episode, and who cares? You know what I mean? This seems to be the most profound statement ever made in the history of investigative reporting, darling. So in trying to be Oprah, Meghan Markle tries to put Paris at ease by saying, you are here in a safe space and you can reinvent yourself. And you can tell us whatever self-identity you want to have, which is very reminiscent of something that her father said.
On a piece of paper at school, you have to mark what race you are. And I told her to draw her own box, make her own box. I said, make your own box and I'll defend you. I'll write out, this is what she is.
The first thing I had noticed about Paris Hilton in this interview is that she changed her voice.
All right, 1, 2, 3, that's hot. This is Paris. Paris Hilton. This is Paris Hilton. How many voices do I have?
Paris admits that she was just famous for being famous, and then she moved to New York at 15 and a half years old, and she snuck out of the Waldorf Astoria hotel where she was resident. How amazing, by the way, because I would love to live in a hotel. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, she snuck out of the Waldorf Astoria hotel just to hang out with people. And she got a lot of press for going to adult bars and clubs and partying and doing drugs and alcohol. And she got in trouble with her parents. And her parents are very strict. And then they took away her childhood by moving her to a boarding school at the age of 16. And she goes to this boarding school, which is called the Behavioral Growth School. It's about $8,000 a month. Okay, the boarding school you can go to for 6 to 9 to 12 months at a time, depending on how much you need it. And I suppose you can go for a top up if you start to rebel again. And she said they were horrible to her and they used abusive language to her, like, you're not going to become anything in life, you are a loser, and so on and so forth. And I think there's something about a lawsuit now that all these rich kids are trying to jump on this lawsuit that they were sent to this boarding school by their parents for no reason at all. Meghan makes such a profound statement.
I mean, the irony. Yeah. Emotional growth. I mean, I can't, now when you think about the advocacy for mental health and our emotional well-being, the idea of even using those words and to know that that is the kind of program that's happening is so incredibly dangerous.
The irony of it all, I can't handle it. I don't think a childhood would be defined as going to adult clubs and bars and doing drugs and alcohol and getting in the press for being sloppy and drunk and crazy. I don't think that's much of a childhood. So to say that by taking you away from that life took away your childhood, I disagree. So after coming out of the boarding school, Paris chooses, and the word is very important, chooses to do anything she wants to do in the world. That doesn't really sound like a slap down, confidence stolen teen to me. Does it to you? And so she chooses to become Barbie and buy the world of pink clothes and diamonds to hide her trauma from the boarding school. At 18 years old, she goes on the reality show Simple Life, where she has a perfect opportunity to display her real self and her deeply intellectual self, as she now purports to be. And instead, she decides to change her voice to this quote unquote dumb blonde voice. Or I don't know if it's a Valley Girl voice. I don't know. If anybody here is Mexican in the comments, do you know about the fresa voice, which is the fresa, strawberry, that they call the wealthy Mexicans? And it sounds like you have a potato in your mouth.
No, de verdad, ustedes dos, si llevan la tontería al límite.
So tonal voice changing alert. Paris Hilton goes back and forth with her voice. She can't help it. It's a habit. And she still stands by it, apparently. I'm not sure what's going on.
Everyone always says who's my friend is like, wow, you're like a completely different person when I'm with you than when you're on TV. It's like not even the same. Like my voice, everything just changes. Like I've a naturally very low voice. I know. But then on the show, it's like, hi. It gets very high. And I'm like,
Thanks, bitch. Have a great day. This is fun.
that can't even feel.
Paris, are you a ventriloquist? That's hot. I don't know. Very good. Yes, thank you. And even when Paris is interviewed in talk shows and she has the opportunity to talk about how she is totally different from the Simple Life character that she was forced to play or that she chose to play, it was many things. She said it was both things. The producers liked her to play that, and she also wanted to play that because she wanted to protect herself, because she felt like if the world saw her as her fake self, it wouldn't really upset her because she knew it was just a fake voice. And that's a very tricky thing with adolescents, where they want to protect themselves from being judged, but like she monetized it to the maximum, which the common person in the world, the common man, does not have the opportunity to do.
That can't even feel comfortable at a certain point. Nothing feels worse than not being yourself.
Eliza Schlesinger comes on. I don't know who she is. I'm not familiar with her, but she's a comedian and she's blonde, apparently.
That's comedian and actor Eliza Schlesinger, who, for the record, is blonde, but is very much not dumb. Her comedy is full of social satire and pointed observations about human behavior.
She said that no one's really a blonde unless they come from Sweden.
First of all, almost no one except for like 10 people in Sweden are naturally blonde. I'm like, look at the eyebrows.
So there we go with Meghan, of course, bringing the experts to her podcast. I know that you out there in my community can tell me if you're a blonde or not, and you're not from Sweden, just let me know. So Meghan Markle, of course, adds her 2 cents that yes, blondes she found in LA, that doors were open for them. And I guess every other ethnicity under the God-given sun at this point, because she's just talking about how privileged everybody else was. Your dad was literally in film. Like he was in film. And you had other nepotism too, which we'll get to later. Yeah, so apparently this Eliza Schlesinger sells it, whatever. She was too hot to be a comedian, but not hot enough to be an actress in Hollywood. And totally Meghan Markle identifies come well lately with her, because Meghan Markle was only the smartest person ever.
It's like you look back at your childhood moment where, for me, again, it's like, okay, well, I'm not the pretty one. So your equity was in being the funny one. And mine was at that age, 10, 11. I was like, I was the smart one. I'm the smart one. I'm the smart one. That is all you have to hold on to. So,
and she repeats that over and over again, that she was never identified as hot, only smart. Briefcase, I got you. She says that she wants Lily to be the smart one.
And I want our daughters to aspire to be slightly higher. Yeah, I want my Lily to want to be educated and want to be smart and to pride herself on those things. And
I mean, God bless, you know? And keeps talking about blondes and their privilege in the early 2000s. But she doesn't want Lily to be like that. Well, why not? Literally, on Instagram, Women are making money from their looks, even more than ever. They're monetizing the Instagram model, the streamer, the beautiful streamers that are on Twitch and everything like that. They're making money from their look. There are a lot of things happening now, and it seems like Meghan Markle is once again missing the mark, out of touch with what's really going on. Honestly, it's really out of touch. It's really unrealistic, really and truly. At this point, she goes back to Paris, who finally proves her intellectual capacity by saying that she's into crypto and NFTs.
And back in 2016, she also started investing in cryptocurrency. And more recently, she launched her very own NFT collection. Here's Paris explaining the digital asset to Jimmy Fallon.
Can you explain what an NFT is?
Well, it's a non-fungible token.
Non-fungible?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is basically a digital contract that's on the blockchain. So you can basically sell anything from art to music to experiences, physical objects. You could try something, maybe like sell one of your jokes or something.
I couldn't even do that to my audience tonight. Are you kidding me?
That's when I was done. I was like, is she reinventing herself as a smart person through NFTs though? Don't do it. It's a scam. This is the art that you're investing 500 grand in. You can cut and paste and click it and say, okay, I have one. Okay, I'm going to show you that. Don't do that though. It's illegal. Meghan admits that she's going to ask a very stupid question that she should have probably kept to herself, in my opinion.
I almost feel silly asking this question, but I have to. Would you still define yourself as someone who identifies as the dumb blonde persona, an archetype?
Not anymore, definitely.
Yeah.
Literally, this woman came on here, changed her voice, gave financial advice, said she's a genius undercover. And you're asking her if she still identifies as a dumb blonde? She gave you 10 whole minutes of her time to say she's not. What are you not understanding? And then Paris Hilton goes on this non-accountability arc, which all of the guests go on. And by the way, I just want to say one thing about the guests. I do know that they are accomplished, but I just wanted to make a point that Meghan is not promoting them for their accomplishments. She does not show the best of them. Like when you Google them and you see actually what they've done, it's not what she talked about in the podcast. Because even constancewu, she did an amazing job with J-Lo in the movie Hustlers. She was very vulnerable, very emotional, very believable in that role. And I loved that. I loved her in that. So it's only after I shot the video that I said, wait, that's Constance. That's the same person who did, she's a good actress. But of course, Meghan Markle never brought up that movie because she's an a-hole. Sorry, where was I? So Paris Hilton says, it's not my fault that I have this voice. Oh.
I'm not alone. It's not me, and it's not my fault. And sometimes I feel like this robot and this character that I did.
I disagree, because you created that voice. You created that stereotype for yourself because you wanted to rebel and whatever. So I would say that's your voice, and I do think you should take accountability for that, albeit with an excuse of rebellion or whatever. But don't say it's not your fault though, really. And then Meghan Markle does actually say something, don't shoot the messenger, but Meghan Markle does say something that actually makes sense. I don't know if it was written by her producers, probably, because she doesn't normally have any kind of self-awareness, but she says,
I think most people at that age are figuring it out. Even in our 30s and 40s, we're still figuring it out. And just in the same way that when we're reinforcing that archetype.
And I did like that she said that in response to Paris taking no accountability. I would say that now they figured it out and they're too old to carry on this dumb blonde taken advantage of shtick. So now they're coming out with this empowerment and all of these things. Like, I think that's really what has happened, is that they've got to a point where they're too old to monetize the shtick that they were using before, and now they have to do something else. My opinion. But don't be fooled. Meghan Markle will come right back in with her humble brag.
Sounds like to me, maybe it takes one to know one, but it feels like you're a bit of a people pleaser. And I wonder.
You're a people pleaser like me. That's what it takes one to know one. Who has Meghan ever tried to please? Like literally everyone hates you. And I'm not saying that out of hate. I am just saying that there's so many people that hate you in such a short time. It's unreal. It's unfair even. It's unfair as a human being that should happen to you, for real. Like, tell us your secret, okay? And then Meghan Markle says, well, you found your Ken doll now and you're still a Barbie. And like, isn't that what this woman just came on here to say that she's not? That's so patronizing of her. So the outro is basically saying that Meghan was resentful of Paris. She was jealous of her because she was the it girl and so on. But now she completely accepts her because she realizes that Paris is as brain broken as she, Meghan, herself is. So she's good. She's fine. I accept you. Okay. And Paris is like,
Oh, thank you. This was just so awesome.
Bravo on everything you're doing.
You too, sweetheart.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, love.
bye, lovely sweetie, honey. Okay. Bye. Meghan, you got. Paris Hilton has a wonderful life. She has a lot of money. She will always be rich and living a good life. So if you think she's some special neurodivergent type that you can play around with, you're wrong. She's good. No one thinks she's pathetic. In spite of all the things that have happened, the sex tape, the arrest, the jail time, Paris is a Hilton. She is good. You're still grifting. Oh yeah, she talked about, by the way, in the beginning, she talked about how she was on Deal or No Deal and she was one of 25 women who wanted to be great actresses and they ended up somehow on Deal or No Deal, and that the whatever producer or whatever told her to suck in her stomach the whole time, and she had a grievance with that. I thought you were supposed to be a dancer. Like,
she was mostly at that age wanted to be an actor or that dancer. That was her real dream.
Anybody who has danced, they tell you about your posture and how to, suck in your stomach. I mean, one of the girls on the Deal or No Deal debunked her being objectified as a bimbo. She said that she never wanted to be on that show. She never wanted to be limited by her gorgeous face and looks, and that she just remembered when she was on that show that how she was this ambassador intern in Buenos Aires, and she said that really cringe. She didn't want to be on this show, which basically launched her career, made her recognized. Oh my gosh. Is that Howie Mandel? Anyway, and she was Howie Mandel, right? Anyway, until next week, I will see you next week for sure with the next podcast, and hopefully it's better because I would say this is the worst one so far. Although it was the one that made her most nervous. So again, that just tells you where her scales are. And it's not balanced. Thank you so much for watching. Mwah, 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 mwah.